I get this kind of comment a lot on my relationship videos, and I want to talk about what actually creates this kind of dynamic. Dating culture, both now and historically, hasn't really been rooted in love, empathy, care, or mutual understanding. It just hasn't. And it's really been the short end of the stick for women, to be honest with you. And a lot of people are really just waiting for the other person to prove themselves first, or people are just living out their unconscious patterns and not even being present. And they're not showing up as who they say they are, and not showing up as someone who actually wants to evolve and grow with their partner as a result. And that's where things break down. Like this whole Meg Thee Stallion, Klay Thompson situation. Like, what? How do you fumble Meg anyway? In my relationship, the hard conversations weren't just about big picture things. They were about us, our emotional patterns, our childhoods, our triggers. If something felt off, we talked about it. If one of us was distant, we addressed it. We did not wait years to figure out how to communicate, how to repair after a rupture, or how to be vulnerable. We practiced that from the beginning. And keep in mind, I said the word practiced because you need to practice and build the muscles and the strength to have these kinds of conversations and have the ability to initiate them. Miscommunications and misunderstandings and acting out of ego are going to happen. The goal is not perfection. The goal is growth. Growth doesn't come from anything remotely easy whatsoever. So if you can't accept that, you're probably not ready for a relationship. In order for me to be able to be in a relationship like this, it started with me doing my own healing work before I even met my current partner. That work helped me lead with who I actually am and what I actually wanted for the relationship. I didn't just sit back and wait. I started crossing the bridge and he reciprocated and met me there. That's how we built trust. Very imperfectly. And I know people are going to say, well, what if the other person isn't safe? Or what if they don't seem like they want to grow? Or isn't it too soon to talk about serious stuff? And shouldn't we wait? That is information. If you haven't communicated your needs or your concerns, you have to start there. And if you have and nothing has changed, that's data. That's real data for you to decide what to do next. And if you struggle with any of that, that's data about you for you and your own growth. I also wasn't attached to a specific outcome. Like I wasn't dating with the idea that this has to end in marriage. I was just present and I was paying attention. I was working on myself. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm working on my side of the road. But I'm not doing any of this in a detached way. It's a way that is in alignment and flow. If we're talking about intimacy, I don't believe there's too soon a time or not. If you believe that, then you need to make sure you're with people who also think like that. And you have to be honest. When you're building a relationship, you're learning how to love someone while teaching them how to love you. And that happens one step literally at a time. You build trust and safety gradually. You meet each other in the middle that way. It is difficult and it is vulnerable. If you want to be in a relationship with someone who considers you and loves you the way you want to be loved, you got to be doing that for yourself first and foremost. And you got to be able to communicate and you got to be able to be vulnerable. But like I said, it's not being perfect at it. You're going to struggle with this. That's just the truth. A lot of people are dating from a place of, let me see if they prove themselves first. Let me see if they're worthy. But at the same time, they're not fully grounded in what they want or how they should show up. And if you're like that, reality is going to mirror that for you. If you're unclear, you will attract confusion and uncertainty. If you're guarded, you will attract people who feel detached and distant. If you're waiting, you will keep meeting people who are also waiting. If you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, it probably will. If you don't communicate well or express yourself well, then your relationship is going to break down at some point. And keep in mind, there's a whole spectrum of how this can unfold because of your trauma, your patterns, their patterns, etc. Relationships are not about perfectionism and mind reading. You are teaching someone how to love you. And they also expect that to be reciprocated. It's unrealistic to expect someone to just know, especially if you're not even clear yourself on what love for you looks like. And also, if it's all about you, and you can't hear your partner and their needs and adjust to, you will also not have a healthy, balanced relationship. And if you don't want to change, you should be prepared for what that will entail for your dating and relationship life then. And honestly, if your values aren't aligned with basic care for the other person, you might just need to take a step back from dating and do a lot of deeper reflection first and a lot more healing. If you want a relationship rooted in care, compassion, and mutual respect, it starts with you knowing your values, your boundaries, your patterns, doing the internal work, doing your shadow work, really looking at yourself. For me, that looked like therapy. It looked like facing my own stuff so that I could show up differently and break cycles and patterns and make different decisions so that I could love myself the way I needed to in order to recognize that love from someone else. And when you do that, right, it's a never ending journey, but when you take those steps and do that, you don't have to chase alignment. You recognize it and you just energetically match it. You create space for it and you meet people who are capable of meeting you on that bridge. So if you find yourself struggling to find the kind of partner that you want and the love that you need, you should probably start with reflecting on whether or not you give that love and validation to yourself first. And like, no tea to this person, like I just get a lot of comments like this and this is the one I chose to respond to. All right, until next time, y'all.